Hey everybody, how are you? I am doing a revision of my earlier weekly vlog. Only 13 people watched it. So I deleted it. One person mentioned to me that why do the creators keep repeating the horrible, offending things that Bullhorn Betty says? And she has a point. I did say quite a long time ago that I feel like, just my opinion, all right, I feel like that she is not right. I think that she may have some sort of mental problem. I could be wrong, but her actions over the years kind of point to that. Someone who cannot realize that their behavior is toxic and is always blaming other people for situations that she puts herself in. Definitely a behavior problem, if not a mental problem. So, yeah, I took that to heart. So I took down the that weekly vlog. So, and I think enough people in our community know what's going on with her. There are people who are, devoted to her like I am for some stupid reason. I don't know what it is about me. I think it's because of the fact that Tennessee is so close to my heart, all right? We lived in Tennessee for over 20 years, my husband and I. And even though, I grew up in New York, but I left when I was 25, all right? And then we kind of moved around. We lived in Florida, we lived in Arizona, we lived in Texas. But then we wound up in Tennessee for the remainder of our life together before he passed. And because the Sebastian Rogers case is in Hendersonville, Tennessee, it hurts my heart, and I just want to know what's going on with it. And unfortunately, she seems to be the main one that talks about it all the time. And why I listen to her is kind of dumb, because by now everybody knows she's a pathological liar. And everybody knows that there's something wrong with her, and yet they continue to do clips on her. Burn Toast dedicates whole live streams to her, and you know, and like she said, why repeat all this stuff? And she said, please stop. So I'll try to remember, not to talk too much about her anymore. Um, Karma does come sooner or later, right? Because y'all know about my baby situation and how they took her from us with no regard to her feelings at all. And 12 years later, divorce, and the daughter decides to go live with the ex-husband. So karma comes. It could take a year, it could take 12 years, it could take 15 years, but it does come. So I think we all need to just step back, let her put herself in her own situation again, and then maybe, just maybe, justice will be served against her actions. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So as far as my weekly vlog, it was a pretty good week. We had really, really nice weather. It was in the 70s most of the week. Very sunny and nice. I've been able to wear, well, I wear these all the time anyway, but if it's cooler, I usually put a jacket on over my dresses. All my dresses are summer dresses because of the fact that it's very hot in this apartment, minus a couple of really cold winter days. Okay, I have a couch right in front of my window, and so in the winter, despite these drapes, the cold air comes right through, and I can feel them on my feet. But other than that, it's usually pretty warm in here. It's usually about 80, 85 all the time. And I am going to get my AC put in. I said earlier that I was not going to because I really couldn't afford it this year. But thankfully, my manager said I could pay $30 increments for 3 months because they want $90 for the electricity bill, obviously. So once the maintenance man comes back, I'll ask him to put in my air conditioner, and I'll be comfortable for at least 3 months of the year. So looking forward to that. We had a nice birthday party today for one of our friends here in the building. She's been a really good friend to me, and at Christmas time for my birthday, she gave me two Barbies because you know how I love my Barbies. Unfortunately, in this apartment, I don't have the room to display all of my Barbies. I want to say I have about 15 or 16 of them now. In my old apartment, there were some display shelves on the sides of my 4-panel bay windows, and I was able to put them up there. I had a mantle, my coffee table. I just had them placed basically all over the living room, and they look so beautiful. But in this small space, I just can't do it. So hopefully someday I'll get into a 1-bedroom, and then I can get all my Barbies out and dress them up and put them out and display them. I've always loved Barbies for as long as I can remember. I never had, you know, did I ever have a Barbie? I think I did, but my cousin, she had Barbies, and she had the clothes, and she had the house and everything, and I was so jealous of her. And so once I became an adult, and I happened to marry Dave. Now, Dave had quite a tumultuous childhood. Both his parents were raging alcoholics, so he never had anything that he wanted because all the money was being spent on booze. So when we got together, we were like two kids in a toy store because he would go and get his models, like he likes to do the airplanes and tanks and all that kind of stuff. He's a great artist. Some of you have seen the paintings up on my wall that he has done. So he went gun-ho with that. I went gun-ho with the Barbies and the clothes, and just, we had so much fun. We were adults, but we didn't have the joy of childhood that some people should have as far as toys and things like that. So, yeah, we had a really good time for 30 plus years together. We met in 82, got married in 85, and he passed away in 2013. So it was a very long time that we were together. And he was 13 years older than me. So we always knew that it would probably be him that went first. But unfortunately, he was not helping his health at all with his diabetes. And we don't need to go into all that. But, yeah. So that's, I've been all my little toys. I did have a Barbie Ferrari at one point. It was fun. And then I had a battery-operated Mustang, I think it was. And we'd go out into the parking lot and play with it. It was just, we had a really good time. Now all the good things are coming back. It's taken me a long time to start remembering the good times because the last 3 or 4 years were so bad with Dave. He had numerous tooth infections, and I think that he just went into sepsis, and all of his organs started shutting down. He became very belligerent, and I think it's just because he had so much poison in his body. I thought maybe it was dementia, but now that, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy a lot, plus I've been into the medical field my whole life. I've been a secretary for a pain management doctor. I've been a transcriptionist in various hospitals. So I'm very informative about medical conditions. And since when he was in the hospital, they took a CT of his head, and there was no indication of anything abnormal, like a tumor or something like that. And they didn't mention anything about, although an MRI may have been more conclusive as far as any abnormalities causing dementia. But, yeah. So, but when he did die, it's because he got a stroke. And that was the end of that, unfortunately. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all about my Barbies and my little hobbies of being a little girl over the past 30 years. He'll be gone, 12 years this year? On June 19th. Um, I don't know if y'all heard Dolly Parton's new song, dedicated to her husband. If you hadn't been there, and oh my gosh, that song fully represents Dave as it does for Carl, that it did for Dolly. I grew up a very sheltered life, was never exposed to the world really. I was just like in this little cocoon. I wasn't allowed to have boyfriends. I had very few girlfriends. I had maybe 3 or 4 girlfriends growing up. That was it. I didn't have a normal high school experience like most kids do. Um, I was just very, very protected. So when I met Dave, he's the one that absolutely opened the whole world for me because I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about politics, knew nothing about life. Feelings and emotions were not allowed in my house growing up. I was told what to do, period. And it didn't matter how I felt or what I wanted. So Dave just opened it all up to me, and he made me the woman I am today. He really did, because I was allowed to explore myself and be myself and talk back. I was allowed to talk back. I was allowed to give my opinions about things. And it took him 2 years for him to get me to say no to him because I was never allowed. So, you know, wow. I mean, it's just amazing the way I am today compared to my childhood where I was scared and meek and quiet and spent all my time in my room, which my parents always said, "Why are you always being up in your room like a hermit?" I couldn't tell them because you're rotten to me most of the time, you know? So Dave just opened me up to everything, and he encouraged my singing. He even tried to start a band for me in Tucson, Arizona. Didn't work out, but at least, he made the effort. Dave has done everything for me to expand my life, my singing, our baby daughter that we had for a little while. He initiated all of that. And he made my life so beautiful, And so you can thank him for the woman that you see today, because he opened me up. He let me be myself. He let me learn about myself. And here I am. And then since his passing, I've become a lot stronger too. I think, the anger over the lack of health care that he got in Tennessee, East Tennessee, to be exact, left me very angry for years. And then all of the terrible behavior from him for the last 3 years of his life, it took me a while to get over that because, he was sick and he didn't know what he was doing, but he acted like a man with early Alzheimer's, dementia. And he would threaten me. It was getting scary. And, yeah, but now that's kind of coming off of my shoulders. All the anger and the resentment against him and the doctors and all that. It just takes a while to process all of that, and it's not just the fact that he died. Not everybody goes through what I went through, like with the dementia symptoms for the past 3 years and dealing with, the belligerence and the nastiness and all of that. And then he got sick. He was in various different hospitals for 90 days. It was very, very traumatic. So I'm finally over that and just reminiscing about the good times, like the Barbies and going out to the karaoke bars and all that. So he was a big, big encouragement to my singing. So I owe him a lot of that. So that's why I relate to Dolly's song so much, about Dave. So, yeah, well, I got into a little bit of a rant there about my life, but, you know, I think it's good to share things because it helps other people, when you tell them there's no time to grieving. It never really stops. If you've been together with somebody for 30 years, 60 years, we have a lady here who's 90 years old, and she lost her husband. She goes to the cemetery every Sunday, which brings her comfort. I have Dave's ashes right here, so he's with me all the time. And I felt him once in a while. Once in a while I know he's here. The other day, my light started flickering, and I was like, and then it went out. So it came back on, and this is a touch lamp, so I touched it 3 times. It went out totally. 5 minutes later, it came back on. So it was either Dave or my cat Vivi. So either one of them, I was very close to both of them. So anyhow, yeah, so we had a great birthday party today for my friend, and that was good today. And Thursday night, I did the normal Sing Stream with Shimmer Soul that we do every week, barring any trips to Bristol Casino or her not feeling well. And we always have such a good time on her Sing Stream. It's very laid back, and I love it so much. And yeah, I sounded so good Thursday night. It was like, wow, my voice is back. And then Tuesday night, I usually go on to Shooting Star, who is Bruce. He has a karaoke on Tuesday nights. So I did Tuesday and Thursday. My voice was phenomenal this week. I couldn't believe it. It was like, thank God, because I have so many trouble with the silent laryngeal reflux that I have a hard time singing, But I did get this spray. I don't know if you can see it very well. This is the Beekeeper's Immune Support Daily Throat Spray. And this really helps with the phlegm in your throat. It soothes your throat. It moisturizes it. And it's really good. I was looking for a spray for singers. I had gotten the Entertainer spray years ago. But I really think this does a better job. So, yeah, that's great for singers and people who have constant throat problems like myself. So my friend was 68 today, and I was turned 68 this past Christmas. And I can't believe that I am getting up there. I mean, in my heart and soul, I'm not 68 years old. I don't act like normal 68-year-olds. Although Margot is a sweetheart, she's funny, She cusses like a sailor, but, that's just the way she is. And that doesn't bother me. I cuss a lot, too, to myself. And once in a while when I'm hanging out with the girls on the front porch or the back porch. So, yeah, she was sweet. And I had gotten her a little a glass vase with yellow sunflowers in there because she loves yellow. And I sent it to her house from Amazon. And I'll be doing the same thing for my friend Darlene in June. Those are the two ladies that I will always exchange gifts with because we've been really, really good friends. It's such a good thing that I moved here from that lonesome house all by myself out there in the woods, in the snow and falling and all of that. So this has been a great, great move. And I'm so excited. So, yeah. So pretty much that's been going on with me. And the world around us is not doing well, as we all know. All we can do is pray and hope that Congress does the right thing one of these days to stop all of this nonsense that's going on with the White House. So, everybody take care. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.